Where you going? What are you drinking tonight? Let's keep 'em flowing. Where do you come from? Where you going? What are you feeling tonight? And what are you showing? Where do you come from? 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 Where you going? What are you drinking tonight? Let's keep 'em flowing.
Hello and good morning. We are here live with Super PlayStation Bros, talking everything PlayStation for the week. I'm joined, as always, leveling up the podcast. That is Doragon, and I am Rudix, and we're about to take you through everything that happened in PlayStation this week, and it's been a lot. But first, I like to start with what have you been gaming on this week? Because I know we both been a part of the same sort of game right now as it's hit the destiny of all into the final shape. So why don't you go through your experience, what you've been up to?
Oh, morning, mate. It's always good to be here. And yes, we're a week after a Destiny 2 annual expansion. And it's not just any annual expansion, it is the end of the saga that they've been telling for 10 years at this point. I have not yet seen everything that it has to offer. I've finished the main campaign. There's a bunch of busy work, a raid, and then a final 12-person mission to finish it all off. But thus far, I am incredibly happy with everything I've seen. The gameplay, it's Bungie gameplay, as far as shooters go. Nobody comes close to them. We all know that one. Incredible experience that way, but just the story, the voice acting, the deliverance of everything, it's bringing together 10 years of storytelling and it's finishing things off for this particular story arc in such a satisfying and powerful way. I'm loving every second of it. Like I say, I've not seen everything yet, I've not finished it, so I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody watching. It's just, yeah, I've been neck deep in that for the last week. I have also been playing the new PS2 titles that have gone up on PlayStation Plus. So we've got a new emulator on the PlayStation 5 allowing us to play PlayStation 2 titles in uprated graphics, better frame rates and all that sort of stuff. Tomb Raider Legend is one of those games that passed me by back in the day because I was traveling the world, living in Australia at the time with just PSP to my name. So I've been trying to get a little bit of time in that one. I've been in VR as well because it's VR. You gotta be in VR. If you're not in VR, what you doing, eh? Ninja Guy will back me up in chat here. But yeah, it's mostly been Destiny this last week, and it's been an absolutely incredible, sensational week. And like, what a game! What a finale to this story arc. I'm running out of superlatives. Take over, please.
Well, I will say I jumped into the final shape this past weekend. The story is very well done. There was definitely aha moments, yelling moments, angry moments, confused. It takes you through the roundabout of emotions, and so you know a quality story is there when that happens. I'm still left with a lot of questions. They actually take you through a campaign and there's still more to do. So the next step would be the raid. Then there's a 12-person event and busy work like you were saying before. So I'm set up to do the raid on Thursday. Fingers crossed I've given myself enough time. It's apparently going to be a tough one. 5 encounters, 2 mini bosses. It's a doozy. There is one glowing aspect of this game, which I was not a huge fan of, and I had to supplement myself, was where is the music? Okay, there was one strike in the back early Destiny 1 days, and you'll remember the strike I'm talking about. They brought it into Destiny 2.
Yep.
Yeah, you go into the boss round, and all of a sudden, donut, 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 like this music comes on, and you're supercharged, and you're in the moment, and you're killing, and it's just, it hypes up the moment. Now, throughout Final Shape, there was many scenes where you're fighting these incredibly difficult bosses, new enemy types. Where was the music? I'm just like, I'm sorry. That was the one lacking part. It was so undertone and ambient. I couldn't get into that aspect of the game. The gameplay was there. The prismatic is a crazy roulette wheel of a superpower when you get it. But oh my gosh, I needed more of that feeling, that music. So I put on some in the background, pumped me up a bit more. But Nads actually later on told me that their composer got let go, and so he thinks that's why the music was suffering.
No, so I can't remember his first name. His surname's Salvatore. He's done all of the music for this first 10-year arc of Destiny 2, and he had completed scoring the final shape, the raid, everything for this next year prior to being let go last year. And it sort of makes a bit more sense when you look at it that way. Story arc, new stories to tell. Maybe they want a different vibe in the music, so a different composer will be brought in to do Destiny moving forward. But it is the same composer, the same music, and it was all done long before he was let go last year. The music is there. I did not notice it until I put headphones on. I was playing on TV speakers like I do most of the time initially, and I didn't really hear it. The moment I put the headphones on, change the game. Like the music, it's a bit more subtle than what we've had previously from Salvatore. It's not quite that Last Wish music. It's not quite that Sepix perfected with the galloping guitars and the chugging bass guitar and what have you. But yeah, it is there. It's just more subtle, and I think you've got to listen for it a little bit. But it's one of those. It will be stuck in your head, and you'll be singing it just like Grasp of Avarice. Like you'll just be humming it one day, like what? Why? Where's this come from?
Sorry, everybody. I'm not sure. Can I get a sound check on you again, Dorgon?
Testing. Probably better doing it in the actual position where the mic is.
I think that should be better. Thanks a lot, Houston, for letting me know. Yeah, that is better. I've turned you up. Sometimes my sound has a mind of its own, and it puts Discord to like a low volume. But I think we've got you.
It's one of those, isn't it? Yeah, you'll start a stream, everything's perfect. Then Discord and OBS decide to do weird and wonderful things.
Yep, fantastic. But I think we got it all set. I do appreciate it. Yeah, that is way better. Great sound now. Thank you guys. Appreciate that input. It does help a lot. But let's get into it. So, it's too bad. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Final Shape, great expansion. Look forward to the raid. Content is there. And it ended, but it's not the complete ending. So if you're wondering if Destiny 2 is the end, they have actually extended it. It's now something called Echoes, and they're episodes. And they just actually started. So right after the Final Shape, like the next week, they were into new content. So I think that's an incredible pace for a live service game, and they definitely keep up with storytelling. So if you play one game, Destiny 2 will keep you entertained, that's for sure.
That it will. Should we get into some news? There's plenty to go through this week, I believe. Lots has been happening in the world of gaming.
There is. So, we've got Marvel Spider-Man 2 update, includes collab and fan favorites, available June 18th. I'll be looking forward to this one. Getting into some photo mode, obviously. Designs from Kid Super, Vinny Jr., Lando Norris, and okay, do you know these people? I'm not familiar with these designers, I guess.
So the first name you said, Kid Super, is it?
Yes,
He's
Kid Super.
he's the actual graphic artist who has done these designs in collaboration with these other people. Lando Norris
Okay.
is a British Formula One racing driver. He also has a YouTube gaming channel with his team called Quadrant. They're very good. They're
Nice.
actually quite funny and stuff as well. I like Lando Norris. He's a great driver. He's a lovely personality. His
Oh,
suit
there
is
it is.
exactly if you
It's a
know what
racing suit.
is from him, it's a racing
Yeah.
suit. It's a racing helmet, and then his signature neon yellow all over it. That is so incredibly Lando Norris. Rina Sayawama is a singer and songwriter. She's only just properly broken out into the scene in her 30s, so she's come to the scene a little bit late compared to some of her counterparts. She's very talented, very emotionally charged lyrics, pop, dance type music with a little bit of soul and blues and all sorts in there. It's crossing a lot of different genres. Incredible artist, and her suit is this beautiful black leather thing. That speaks to my heart. All of the suits look great. I think these collaborations have been really good. I'm surprised how positive and great they are. But then we've got some phenomenal legacy suits coming. So we've got Peter Parker's Last Stand, which is one of the most emotionally charged stories from Spider-Man. Such a good suit. That red leather jacket with the leather trousers. I'm just knowing what it is. I won't spoil that because people need to read that comic. It is that good. And Miles Morales is Uptown Pride one. Perfect timing to release Uptown Pride. It is Pride Month after all, and there are a few hateful individuals that need putting in their place. So quite happy with that one coming out. And then an Into the Spider-Verse suit for either of them. So Peter B. Parker, and of course the Into the Spider-Verse Miles suits look absolutely fantastic.
Peter
I
B.
like this update.
Parker. One of the best
Indeed.
Spider-Mans. I mean, he just told it how it is, and he's a good guy into the heart. Plus, the voice actor for that is a hilarious character.
He is so funny. How he
Yeah.
goes from "It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia" to that is just that is range. That is acting range. Incredible.
Definitely cool to see all these new suits. I still haven't finished New Game Plus. I worked through it little by little. But I look forward to checking this out, taking some snaps. I think one of the highlights for me in these suits would be the Last Stand. I mean, that is a very cool look. I think you can get a lot of nice shots out of that one. And the Formula One. The Formula one definitely hits well. Very
I'm
cool
feeling
to
like
see.
Lando is going to be getting a few new fans from this just because of his Spider-Man suit.
He could. He could. I want to see some DLC though. I want to see what happens with Carnage. It left it on a cliffhanger. I really hope they bring us some news. But yeah, we've got nothing yet to report. But what we do have to talk about is a little release date from a remake, Metal Gear Solid 3. And he's eating snakes. Yes, in the game, you do eat snakes. You catch them. It's
What
a
a game.
survival aspect. I do remember playing this back in the PS2 days. Great title. Kept me going until the very end. I remember very vividly the white flower fight when you're in the field.
Oh, with the boss. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I mean, it just hits you back to that nostalgia. Very, very cool video game. They definitely opened it up. They made it survival. They tried new things with this, and it worked well. And that's why it's getting a remake.
Powerful narrative as well. A narrative that really speaks to the world that we're in at the moment. This whole anti-war, anti-nationalism rhetoric that runs throughout Snake Eater, the bringing down of these shadow governments, basically the billionaires who run the world instead of the governments, these organizations that fund their figurehead to get into power, and taking them out, bringing them down, or playing their own game and being better at it than them. It's such a strong and, at this moment in time, close to home narrative for a lot of people, but very much needed in the world. This remake looks... I had written Konami off after they fired the Golden Goose. Like, if you've got Hideo Kojima making games for you, and he's making things like Metal Gear Solid and Silent Hills and all of these other amazing experiences, you don't go firing that Golden Goose. They did, though, and they have languished for the past 9 years. They have made one new game, which was terrible, and then they've sort of survived on remasters and remakes since then, but I'm looking at this, there's a lot going into it. It's a lot of the original team that are left at Konami making it. So it's the Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater team that did work on it. They're working on it again. And there's things in this game like he will be permanently scarred. So injuries that your Snake gets will stay on his body for the remainder of your playthrough. So your Snake will have different scars to my Snake, and there'll be different scars to, say, SPG's Snake in chat, which I think is utterly incredible. That is such a cool feature, but also he's going to be one walking scar by the end of it. It's going to be that bad.
The takeaway is that everybody's Snake is a little bit different, and they each got different scars on their Snake.
Why do you always take it back to the gutter? Why?
I don't know. That's where it was going.
It was not going to the gutter.
It's
Can't take you anywhere.
I'm a little confused on the marketing rights. I guess it ran out for PlayStation because I think that's where we originally saw it, and then Xbox swooped up the marketing rights. However, it does look like a solid remake, and it'll be a thinker for me. I've already beaten the game, so it's hard to get invested on full price, but we'll see how I feel and who's around me picking it up. It does come out November 17th, which is my mom's birthday. Shout out to my mom. Love you, Mom.
Woo, Mum. Yeah.
Yeah, it was listed as a 2024 game, and it looks like it'll stay true to that coming out near the end of the year, as long as it doesn't hit another delay. So yeah, let's hope for the best, and that's the latest news we have on this guy.
Chat has gone mad with your whole Snake Eater and scars on the snake, and everybody's snake is different thing. Like, what have you started? What
as
have you
long
done?
as your snake gets eaten, who cares? Thank you, SPG. And then we have Ninja Guy saying permanent snake scars, and he's got one of these emojis. And there's an adult film called Snake Eater, says Ron Slusher, and I'm sure he's got the movie poster for it posted up somewhere. And then we have South of Midnight looked great, says Sanchez Gaming. Yeah, enthusiasm.
That's not Snake Eater. We're on to something else here.
Okay, South of Midnight sounds like a Snake Eater to me.
Why? I literally can't take you anywhere.
All right, well, let's build back up the show, shall we?
Please, yes,
into Horizon Adventures. So I read into this one. Now, this is not a continuation of the Horizon story. This is a reimagining of the first story through the lens of Lego. You're going to be with Aloy and a myriad of Lego friends, as well as the characters from Horizon, and you're going to be going through the story to find Aloy's backstory in Lego style, beating these dinosaurs. What do you think about this game? How do you like it coming out on Switch? Do you think that's a Lego thing? Odd move, right? Everybody's been talking about why Switch.
Because Switch is the biggest platform on the planet right now. It's bigger than PC, it's bigger than PlayStation, it's bigger than Xbox. Everybody and their mum has a Switch. When I say that, I mean it literally. Mothers have Switches, grandmothers have Switches. People talk about consoles, it's a Nintendo. Lego is a multi-platform developer. They've always developed multi-platform. They've released on everything going under the sun. So when PlayStation approached them with an idea for, say, a Lego spin on one of their franchises, Lego are probably going to want to put it everywhere. they can easily sway them away from Xbox because it is the smallest market demographic. So you're not really going to be losing much of 10 to 12 million Xboxes or something, are you? Whereas losing out on 174 million Switches, that's a lot of sales figures, a lot of money left on the table. And it will be a bit of testing the water as well, because we are around about 12 months out from knowing what the next Switch console is and how powerful that will be. If that can run some of Sony's first-party games moving forward, we know the Switch 2 is going to sell well because the Switch has sold well, or whatever they end up calling the next Nintendo console. So
the Sony Switch.
If it will not be the Sony Switch. You are on one today. So it's a bit of water testing. If this is good enough and if that next console's powerful enough, that we could see PlayStation games being launched on Switch much more often to hit a wider market demographic. It makes a lot of business sense, and I kind of want it on both because those graphics look incredible. It's a Lego game that looks better than some of the AAA first-party games that we've been getting in the last couple of years. And it will also run on the Switch while I'm having a 5-hour car journey somewhere. I kind of want it on both platforms. It looks amazing.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely a PlayStation get for me because I want those trophies. And to my knowledge, Nintendo doesn't have achievements, right?
Not currently. Not currently, no.
Yeah, that's their MO. They don't have the achievements. But hey, it's cool. It's Lego. It's Horizon. I think they had a lot of success with their Horizon Lego buildable set, the tall neck. And from there, that was probably the beginning of a relationship that led to this, is what I would suspect. Will we see Xbox? Yeah. Xbox could possibly do the same thing. Perhaps we'll see Lego Master Chief sort of spring up, and then that'll lead to a game. That would definitely be the signifier for seeing that. But right now we're seeing Horizon. Love to see it. And yes, if the Sony Switch is able to play these native games, then we could see more cross-platform love. Definitely a possibility.
Can you start coming to this podcast wearing a tinfoil hat, please? Just so people know you're off your rocker.
We need to brand it the Sony Switch. And when it comes out and there's a little Sony in the bottom corner, I will have been right.
No. No. Just no. It's not happening. Stop dreaming.
Hey, this is wild predictions from the west and east here. Well, maybe more civilized from the east.
This game is the first time that any form of relationship between Sony and Nintendo has been repaired since the 1980s. That is how long they have been feuding. Like, you do not get to a point of feuding for 30, 40 years and then suddenly just become bedfellows. It doesn't happen. Like, one step at a time, my boy. Let them get the game out first.
They're making a movie together, right? They're already shooting flicks together. The Zelda movie, right? They're behind the scenes doing some things, all right?
Step at a time.
And yeah, they've already taken 2. Third date's the one where they get busy, I'm saying.
You Americans and such, like, the culture of dating over there is weird. Just weird.
TV tells me what to do, and I follow that, all right? That's how we go.
Like I said, weird.
This was something I wasn't suspecting, but definitely... Okay, I would have not have jumped into Quidditch if it wasn't coming to PS Plus Essential day 1, but since it is, let's get some Quidditch on. I'm gonna dust everybody. That is crazy to see. And I never thought we'd see a PS Plus announcement. That's not the kind of service that PS Plus typically gives you. They're not trying to promote day 1 games on release, but here we have it. It's a nice surprise. Even Harry Potter's joined the gang. And get into some Quidditch. I would have loved a realistic EA type of feel to it. But I get the idea of making it more of this, I don't know what to call this. I just want to call it Fortnite by default. But this animation style.
Yeah.
What are your feelings on Quidditch the sport coming out?
This, because it came out of left field, because there was no leaks of it or anything, I think I'd heard a rumor maybe 8-9 months ago that a standalone Quidditch game was in development, which I thought was great. It then just came out of nowhere, and it looks in the vein of the Quidditch World Cup game that was on PlayStation 2, Xbox One era of consoles, which I absolutely adored. It played incredibly well. It was a very, very well-made sports game, especially for a completely fictional sport. This takes what looks like that feeling, that ethos from that old title, actually has the balls doing what each ball in the game should be doing. So you've got to have people playing their role properly. And then it's coming day one to PlayStation Plus Essential, so the lowest tier of PlayStation Plus. I'm hyped. I'm actually hyped for this game. I think Quidditch is a great invention. I think the sport, if played properly and designed properly in a video game, is going to be good. But yeah, I'm hyped for this. I loved the Quidditch World Cup game on PlayStation 2. Nothing has ever come close to it since, especially in all of the other games that they've done in that Harry Potter universe. I'm looking forward to this. Really am. And I will absolutely wipe the floor with you. You don't stand a chance, Rue. I'm sorry.
If you have Hogwarts Legacy, you can actually link up your Warner Brothers account and you'll get a Legacy bonus pack when playing the games. So that's a nice little extra bonus that you get, some different broomsticks and some Quidditch gear. And if you didn't know, Hogwarts Legacy actually had a free update and it brought my favorite feature.
Oh no.
Photo mode is now available in
mode.
Hogwarts. All right, everybody, this is great. I'm so happy that one of the biggest games last year, one of the most selling games last year, has introduced photo mode. Every game needs to do this. I'm so happy to see that this is a new standard. Please bring this out to every single game you have. Photo mode is definitely amazing. Now this game went up got 5 more points in my book for getting photo mode, and now it's on my consideration list. Wow, I am so happy to see this. Looks like it's a full photo mode, hiding NPCs. You have filters, the chromatic aberrations, film grain. You want to turn that off. It's got a lot of great options. I cannot wait to play with this. I'm gonna put this on wish list, and as soon as I see it below like 50%, hopefully soon, we'll be getting into this. Really, really cool. I love photo mode. And I hope this gets more spotlight. I'm sure there'll be a hashtag Hogwarts coming up soon. So awesome.
Probably,
awesome stuff.
What is your scale? Like, photo mode automatically adds 5 points to your scale. What does your scale run from and to for photo mode to be an automatic 5?
I don't know. I just said it off the bat. My scale is not consistent. That could have been out of 100. We don't know.
You make this very difficult, bro. You know that, right?
They're 5 imaginary points, just like Hogwarts magic, whatever they do. So it's 5 Hogwarts points.
Will you read the damn novels, please?
I
don't watch the movies because they're awful. But
Harry Potter
read the novels.
In a school play. I am Harry Potter, so I don't need to read the books. I embody the character.
Well, you've got the scruffy hair, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's get back onto this. We have a game releasing that is really pushing the boundaries of what is able to run on consoles and PC. I've never seen minimum specs be quoted at 3060 before. The Black Myth Wukong pre-orders were released. It's coming out late August, I believe. This game has been hyped on a hype train from the station for years now. It is touted as being the next iteration in Sekiro in terms of gameplay, and everyone knows Sekiro won Game of the Year and is one of my all-time favorites. Action, amazingness, and you play as a monkey, alright? How can you not love this? Black Myth Wukong, PS5 and PC dates released. Xbox dates coming soon. He pulls a spear out of his ear. It's just ludicrous.
That's how the mythology goes. This is
I don't know
Chinese
the
mythology. This is so. I love aspects of this because it looks like they're doing a huge amount of honor to the Chinese mythology in a similar way to the likes of Ghost of Tsushima and Rise of the Ronin do huge amounts of honor to the Japanese mythology. Like God of War does great honor to the Greek and Norse mythologies. They're changing it up. They're doing things differently, but that is just the Chinese mythology. And the monkey warrior stores his spear in his ear. Why? I don't know. Maybe he couldn't get the Q-tip far enough in, so he used his spear and sort of wiggle around, a bit of a clean. I don't know why it's stored in his ear, but I love that they're taking those teeny tiny little things and throwing them in the game. Whether this is going to be one for me, I don't know, because it sounds like one of those absolutely ginormous, very boring RPGs that you just number spamming regularly. But I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping it's a bit more action-oriented and a bit more narratively driven, but there's a lot of people very, very excited for this game. It looks incredible from a graphical perspective. Hopefully it runs incredibly as well on the PlayStation 5, because it is a console exclusive accidentally at the moment, because similar to what we had with Baldur's Gate 3, they can't release it on Xbox until they've got parity between their two different systems. So until they've sorted that out, it's a PS5 console exclusive. So hopefully it runs well. Hopefully it does actually hit 60 second, but like if it's asking for a 3060 as minimum specs, it's going to be pushing things far.
30 FPS on the console. I mean, I'd love it to be 60. Maybe it'll hit 60 with the extra ray tracing support with a PS Pro, but I don't expect a game of this fidelity to run at 60 FPS. But I can
in which case that's a no buy for me. If it's 30 FPS, it's a no buy. I can't deal with that lower frame rate anymore.
We could see 45.
Having experienced higher. That I could possibly work with, yeah.
PlayStation is known to do the 40-45 FPS and be able to hold that well. And I feel like that's a good middle ground. I really love that in Miles Morales. I thought I played all of my game on that mixed mode, and I thought it was great. But yeah, this game on my radar, top of my list, and I was beyond excited to see this at the Summer Games Fest. And right now we have a real issue because you're able to tell that the Series S is holding back that Xbox release. So it's a little unfortunate. I wish they would just honestly release it on the X for people who want to play this and want the choice, or at least on Xbox PC perhaps. But I guess they have this parity rule that I keep hearing about, and everything needs to be released. So very cool. Look at him riding a bug. I mean, it looks like a game for me. And I definitely don't mind getting lost in it, and the huge boss battles with the combat is all for me. And fingers crossed for photo mode.
Automatic 5 extra points depending on the scale, right?
Yeah, exactly. This game could easily get 15 points for photo mode. Who knows?
15 points out of 12, yeah. It's wild, man. Wild.
All right, everybody. Let's jump into the next one. We are hitting you guys with so much news today. PS5 hardware architect says it may take less time to build a console than a game now. What? Craziness. Dorgon, you were alluding to this before the show, and the fact that this is actually a true state of fact. This is a real turnaround, and will this lead to consoles just becoming apps that they manage on their back end if they're constantly, able to upgrade their console so quickly? I don't know. What do you think this will lead to? And what are your thoughts on this one?
If it's not addressed, it will lead to a big problem in the industry. It will lead to a major collapse, and we could see platforms disappear. We've already seen studios and publishing houses disappear because of how things are pushing at the moment, because of how development timelines are so long, because of how expensive making AAA games is. This isn't a problem for us to worry about. This isn't something that we as consumers need to give two flying frells about. This is a platform problem. This is a developer. They need to sort it out. If they're not making stuff for us to buy, we're not going to buy it. If they're making these things cost them 200-300 million to make, that's a them problem. We don't have to then prop them up. But if they keep this up, if they are making games so slowly that we could go an entire console generation in the PlayStation 5 without one of PlayStation Studios, Premier Studios, Naughty Dog releasing a game at all that isn't a remake, remaster, re-something or other, we could see a massive collapse of the industry. And that's a big problem when you've got like your crown jewel studios not releasing games because it's taking 7, 8, 9, 10 years to make a title. So it's something that the studios need to figure out. It's something that the platform holders need to figure out. I think with these boxes that we've got at the moment in terms of, say, Xbox's Series X specifically, not so much talking about that S because of that parity clause that is causing issues as we have already spoken about today, and the PlayStation 5, we're in a position where they don't have as much content as their previous generation. And a lot of the content that is coming is very samey. You don't have that variety. So I think we could be in a situation where we are looking at an elongated console generation because there is no need to put a new one out, because if there's no games for this console, you're suddenly releasing another console, different architecture, pushing things to different ways, pushing them harder, and they can change things around and build things differently for them. You're going to end up back in the same boat with a new console in 3.5 years as you're in with this one now, 3.5 years into its lifespan. So it's something for these guys who make the consoles, who make the games, to figure out, but they do need to sort it, or we will see some industry collapse around it, because if you haven't got a product to sell, strangely enough, you're not going to make money. And if you're not making money, you're going to go into liquidation. I feel like they're not seeing the forest for the trees on occasion.
Yeah, I completely get what you're saying, and people saying that PC is immune to this. It's actually, I feel like they're very much in the same boat. They may be distanced a little bit, but like I was saying before, Black Myth Wukong has a minimum 3060 spec, and that 3060 graphics card came out in 2021. So already in 3 years, you're playing with outdated pieces of equipment that are now considered minimum specs. And to anyone who invested in something 3 years ago, that's crazy for your PC. That games are already starting to outpace these graphic cards. So, yeah, I think that's the state we're in, and we'll definitely see one of these sides begin to break.
I hope so. I hope. Like, we know these ballooning budgets, we know these elongated development times, they mean nothing. Look at Destiny's graphics, they haven't changed since 2015. They got a slight polish in 2020 with the release of these new consoles up to 4K for players, but they were already playing at 4K on PC anyway. We've not seen a change in those graphics for a long time, and people still play that game. People love that game. People are logging into that game on a near daily basis, registering hundreds upon hundreds of hours in just that game. Look at Fortnite, which you keep bringing up as like this disgusting Fortnite graphics type thing. They're not good graphics. They are cartoony as cartoony come, and they're not even like a Warner's cartoon or something. They are a very stylized version. But people log into that game daily. People play that game daily. You look at Animal Well, which is released recently. It's a short game. It's got great critical and commercial acclaim, and it's 8-bit. It is as bare bones in terms of graphical fidelity and stuff as they come. So there are things that these studios are doing that don't need to be done for people to enjoy the game. And I think we need to get back to the core of what gaming is a little bit, and developers need to realize this, and publishing houses need to realize this, that these games need to be fun above all else and released on such a cadence that gamers don't forget about you. Because let's be honest here, most people are not like you or I. If I say Naughty Dog to your average Joe out on the street, they don't know what that is. But if I say Uncharted, they know what that is. So you've got to put, at some point, a hard line in the sand to say, let's stop pushing how this person's hair falls or how a grain of sand falls out of a bag and start pushing the gameplay and fun factor, or at least the engagement factor of these games. Let's make them so that people want to come back, keep playing them, and get to the end point. If there is such a thing as an end point, come back and play one more round if it's one of those perpetually lasting games. And if you haven't got those core facets, it doesn't matter how good it looks. It really doesn't.
Well, I will say, seeing some of the things that I'm starting to see in gaming is starting to make me realize, I mean, where are we going to go with these consoles? Are they going to be super powered in the next generation, or maybe even cloud assisted? I'm hearing that the new Call of Duty is actually more gigabytes than 300 when it's installed, and it has to be played online because it's assisted through other servers for more data.
Yes and no. So that 309 gigabyte size is every single current release of Call of Duty. So that's Modern Warfare 3, Warzone, Black Ops 6, Modern Warfare 2, all of the multiplayer modes, all of the multiplayer maps. And because that's so big, they couldn't really then go and throw all of their texture rendering on the console itself as well. Because if you play Call of Duty and you want to play all of those different bits, it's already taking up over half of your hard drive space, or half of your SSD space on this current gen of console. So it's not quite true. The current game, just Black Ops 6, if that's all you want to play, that will be around the 120 gigabyte mark. And yes, it will be streaming some of your textures and colors to render them that way. So they say it's not playable offline. Someone will try and play it offline and see what happens and get it working offline to see what happens. But if we're needing, and that's even in the campaign, in the single player stuff, but if we're at a point of needing an internet connection for single player games, we've crossed a line that we need to step back behind. But there's no way you should need an internet connection for a single player title.
Yeah, I agree. But as we see games sort of evolve, I'm showing off on the screen a photorealistic mod for Night City, and it just looks insane and impressive. I heard from some friends, SPG, that this would even bring his 4090 to its knees.
Yeah, that's the thing. It looks great, but there's 2 people on the planet who can run it. Right. It's not worth the investment or time of day. Rein it back. You aim for your lowest common denominator, and you make sure it runs perfectly for them. If it runs perfectly for them, you can then add some bells and whistles for everybody else on top. But it doesn't need to be this, where such a minor demographic can get it. But do better, developers.
Absolutely. But love to see it. Love people pushing forward, but maybe they're going too fast, too quickly. Astro's Playroom PS5 gets new update, new trophies out of nowhere. Well, it's not out of nowhere, right? I mean, we got the announcement for the new game, and then right after,
somebody pressed a button somewhere.
Yeah. Hey, you want to go back in, make sure you check it out. I will give you a warning that I have discovered the new trophies are time gated. So I was able to go in, save Lady Maria in the GPU render forest, which you kindly pointed out. The GPU sings to you, which is kind of funny. I'm your GPU. It's just cute. It's your actual GPU is singing a song to you about the GPU that you're in right now. It's very meta. You go in there, you save Lady Maria through a little puzzle, and I assume in a month or so we may get a new drop, a new update, which will then release the next Astrobot character to be able to go in and save. I'm a huge fan of the game. It's a good palate cleanser for me in between all like the Souls games that I like to play. It's simple, it's fun. I like all the background. It's vibrant. And the platforming is very well done. So all to Astro. I look forward to the new game.
Yeah. I
And
also love Astro's Playroom. I'm really looking forward to Astrobot. I pre-ordered it from Shop 2 the other day here in the UK, which means I bought it for about £52 rather than the 60 that the base version is for on the PlayStation Store. So that's a nice little saving with a purchase. I'm really looking forward to that game. I like what they're doing with this, updating the old game to give you a few things to keep you fresh, keep you coming back up until release on the new game. It's breathing life into a title that's otherwise done for a lot of folks, but it's so good. I don't think anybody's going to complain about re-downloading it if they have to, or booting it back up like me and just playing a bit more in it. It's so good. I think it's a great way to market the new game, especially for those who don't pay attention to these shows. Again, we are a minority. People watching this show, people in chat, people talking to you and I, we are a minority in the gaming verse. We live, breathe, and die for this stuff. We know it inside out, back to front, left, right, and center, probably better than some of the CEOs on occasion. But so many players don't know that. So if you just get an update for Astrobot that's installed on your PlayStation 5 that you forgot about, you're going to jump in and play it again and wonder what's going on and then go start looking for it. Brilliant marketing tactic, because it's giving people something to play as well. It instills a lot of goodwill.
Yeah, and Astro's like a love letter to PlayStation. You go in, you get to see all the PlayStation characters, you collect all the PlayStation equipment. I've never seen anything like it, and it's fun and awesome if you're a PlayStation fan. But what's not awesome is all your stars have disappeared, and there's no word about it.
Not quite true. They said today we're aware there's a problem.
Okay,
that's the only word we've got.
Well, at least they said it's a problem and it's not what's, going to be happening moving forward. There's no PlayStation Stars. People were speculating whether they're getting rid of the program. A little bit odd. I guess it's just going through some revamping. But right in the middle of Days of Play, an odd move. And you know what? I also want to add on to this. If you're listening, PlayStation and Discord do not work, and it's very annoying. They used to work very easily. I used to be able to go into all the chats I wanted to from my PlayStation. Now I need to wear 2 different earphones, which is a ridiculous situation if I want to be in Discord and hear my PlayStation. So
it's that easy. You just put one of these over one of them, and you sort. Oh god, that's even more sound deadening.
No, I got I have to wear 2 different earbuds.
Oh, yeah, because you've got the in-zone buds, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh,
I also have the headset, which is what I liked, yeah. And then I was able to jump into Discord chats through my PlayStation, but they disabled that, or it doesn't work. Every time I enter a Discord chat on my PlayStation, it kicks me out, and it says something went wrong. And I keep tweeting. Nobody said anything about this, and it's been like that for a month.
I feel like it's a you issue, because I've not had that personally. I don't know whether you want to disconnect your Discord from your PlayStation and then reconnect it, see if that solves the situation. But otherwise, it's going to be a case of you're going to want wired headsets like this for your Discord, so that you've got the mic that sits outside of it and then just put your over ears over the top. It's a little bit ridiculous, but it does work. And I've worked with SCUF setups for years at this point, doing basically everything through Android. Like I'm talking to you through Android right now, for example. So I know about the SCUF setups. I've got a few ways around it if need be, but I would start by disconnecting and reconnecting your Discord. On the front of PlayStation Stars, I don't think this is a revamp or anything along those lines. I think it's a legitimate issue that they have no idea how to solve. PlayStation Stars is a good reward program. You actually get quite a bit of money back for purchasing digital products on the PlayStation Store. And during Days of Play, people do a lot of purchasing because things are heavily, heavily, heavily discounted. They don't want to have that reward program offline during such a sale. But it is, and they didn't say anything for a week. They've only said something today about it with that. We're aware there's an issue. Please bear with us. So I think it's a legitimate problem that they have got no idea how to solve at this moment in time. And who knows what that's going to mean when and if it comes back online for anybody who's bought anything during Days of Play or done any of the challenges during Days of Play to get those rewards. It's an interesting scenario. I work in a big tech company. I understand how difficult some of these things can be, especially when they do something that you have got no explanation for, no rhyme or reason as to why it's happening. Everything seems like it should be working. It is very difficult to then pinpoint the issue and resolve it, even with a massive team of incredibly highly qualified engineers and software designers and all this sort of stuff. So I get it, but you're a giant multi-billion corporation. Hire more people, hire some subcontractors, get them working on it as around the clock as they can to get it sorted as quick as possible.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know, Maker. I've heard you're upset. That is odd that to buy a collector's edition, you have to go outside the digital store, but there's no way to receive stars for that. They should give you like a little code and you get some stars every time you get a digital deluxe version. I do believe that's sort of a gap in their marketing.
It shouldn't even need that, really. You're logged in with the same PlayStation Sony account.
Yeah.
They could just link it up and fire it across. It's a situation of however they've designed it, two systems not currently willing to talk to each other. I'm hoping it's something they will work on for the future, because purchases from PlayStation Direct should count towards your PlayStation Stars rewards. 100%.
100%, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely an overlook. But let's get into the democratization of Call of Duty Black Ops 6 as it hits PS5 on October 25th. If you pre-order, you get early access to the game. This is a deal that they have been running for 10 years for early access, and now that Xbox has bought in for $70 billion, you can now get early access on Xbox as well via Game Pass. So 2 ways now to get into early access. And yeah, that marketing campaign has now ended for PlayStation, holding that exclusivity there. So marketing moves on, things move forward. We'll see where people go and how they treat this next iteration. It will be still on the past generation. So this is a PS4 game. Insane to me.
Ouch.
How you fit 300 gigabytes on a PS4, I don't think you'll have any room for anything else, but wow.
Your base PS4 came with a 500 gigabyte hard drive installed, so you could fit Call of Duty on there, but if you've got another big game, so say you're a Destiny 2 player as well, that is everything. That is all you are fitting on that console, those 2 games. It's getting a little bit out of control, and it comes back to the conversation that we had earlier of basically calm your tits, developers. Like, understand what people are working with, understand your lowest common denominator, work to that, not your 1% highs. That's just, it's never going to work out for you, because there's going to be people who won't buy this game because, or they do buy this game, can't install it, and then have to fight to get a refund because it's digitally, or consumer rights don't exist in their country, or they butchered in their country, whatever the case may be. we're in a situation where things aren't there to benefit the player at the moment with a lot of this industry, and Call of Duty is definitely one of those situations. It launching on PlayStation, we knew that was going to happen. They signed a 10-year deal. That's great. I don't like Call of Duty. It's been the same for the last 10 years. Every year I just hear the Who's won't get fooled again running around my head. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Won't get fooled again. So yeah, I won't be buying it because I own the one from 10 years ago that is identical. So that's me. But a lot of people will. It's basically a quantifiable known fact to this one. So power to them. Hope it goes well. Hope it's enjoyable for everybody. It's not another sort of DLC sized release as they got last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's jump into Final Fantasy IX Remake is almost certainly real, as another database leak appears. So this is more on the rumor side. If you're a fan of the Final Fantasy series, number 9 looks to be getting a remake. Will it have sort of the same treatment as Final Fantasy VII? I don't think so, because that was over and above. I think you'll literally just probably get a graphics update. It'll still be the same gameplay. But I could be wrong. It's still a rumor now. And Final Fantasy IX, which could be coming out soon.
Why 9? Right, we've done the Final Fantasy VII remake. Get that one.
Yeah.
It's one of the most popular ones of all time. Final Fantasy VIII has an incredibly popular main character in Squall, and the most popular weapon in the entire series in the Gunblade. Like, the only thing bigger is the Buster Sword, and that's only because Cloud wields it. The Gunblade on its own is a beloved character. Why are we not getting a Final Fantasy VIII remake? Why are we skipping the Gunblade and going straight to... Don't get me wrong, 9 is also a very beloved title. I understand why they would do it, but... Gunblade. Gunblade.
The Gunblade does
I think
sound
I've made
cool.
my point. Gunblade. Give me the
Absolutely.
Gunblade.
I think... I think it just has to do with sales, obviously. But even that doesn't make sense with Final Fantasy VIII almost doubling Final Fantasy IX in sales. I don't know. It's one of the weakest. And I guess that one and 11 are one of the weakest in terms of sales. So odd move.
I keep
Maybe
forgetting
it's
11
just...
exists.
Yeah, it only sold 1 million copies on the PS2. It was a MMO with a subscription model.
That would be why. This was in an era where we were sensible gamers and said subscription models. No, up yours.
Yeah, well, the Final Fantasy, I believe it's 14, afterwards took off 24 million in sales with the MMO subscription plan. So I guess maybe that was their practice one. Yeah.
Only after they scrapped Final Fantasy XIV and redid it from scratch because it was so bad and hated. They had to start again. They did this whole story thing, similar to Cataclysm in World of Warcraft. They did this whole thing that changed everything. Everything that came from it couldn't be played thereafter. And they did this new Final Fantasy XIV, and they did free trials up to level 60. Basically, the base game was free to everybody. There was no subscription required, and that is still the case. So, yeah, that is the only reason 14 took off. If they had left 14 in its original state like 11 was, it would be in the same boat of maybe 1 million sales and dead.
Well, there you have it. Final Fantasy IX, a little rumor. So maybe coming up, maybe not. We'll see what the future has to hold. This one got me. All right, listen, people. If you have Elden Ring and you have not got ready for the DLC, what is happening here? Okay, 35% of PS5 users have progressed enough to start Shadow of the Erdtree. That is the highest percentage. On PC, I believe it's under 30%, and on Xbox, it's around 20%. What? Do people just buy this game and then not play it? It was one of the greatest installments. I just don't understand how nobody is ready for this. And at the same time, what is that going to do to sales? Are people still going to buy this not knowing they can't access the DLC? It's confused me like no other. It's crazy to see. I guess people I bought it and didn't play it. Ninja.
We come back to a point I've made a couple of times already in this show, and that is you and I, the people in chat here, the people who turn up when this show is live, are the hardcore gamers. We live, we breathe, we play. There are a lot of people who got swept up in the fever of Elden Ring. Everybody was talking about it wherever you turned, even people who don't game, people like my parents, for example, in their 70s now. They don't play video games, they know of Elden Ring. They know what it is, they know where you can play it, all that sort of stuff. The problem is, what they don't know is it's an incredibly difficult game. What a lot of people don't know is it's an incredibly difficult game. And most of these people have never played any of the Soulsborne titles previously, because they are a niche market of those who want the ultra difficult title. So you've got a lot of people who've come in, bought this game, played this game, realized it's hella hard, and either put it to one side or sold it on the second-hand market. That's the reality. That's why so many people have not got to a point of being able to play Shadow of the Erdtree, because it's a game that's way too hard for them and they don't want to play. It's not fun for them. So those 35% of people who have made it far enough to play Shadow of the Erdtree are probably the right amount of people who actually enjoy the game that bought it. So yeah, it's kind of unsurprising to me. I'm surprised it's so low on. I thought PC players would have passed a bit more, but again, if you're swept up in the fever of it, it's at the top of the charts. Every time you log into Steam, you're like, let's find out what's going on. It's so many people playing, so many people streaming. It's it's a difficult game. People got swept up in the fever about it during release, and they didn't like it. I think it's that simple.
Crazy. There's just so many people who just bought this, turned this on, said it was too hard, and turned it off and said goodbye to their money. Like, I don't know. I've beaten the game 3 times. I guess I'm a part of the minority in this 35%. I just find it, people buy it just to look at it. I don't know, but that's the state we're in.
Look at Hellblade.
I hope.
If you look at Hellblade from Xbox recently, their trophy support, or whatever they call it over that side of things, and what have you, says that most people have not progressed more than 10% into that game. That's an 8-hour-long game, and it's not difficult. There's an easy mode. You can basically just smash your face against the controller and play the game.
Yeah, there's auto combat.
People have only gone 10% of the way through it. And this is what happens. Like, games are not for everybody. And that's brilliant. Games should not be for everybody. Hellblade shouldn't be for every single person on the planet. Assassin's Creed shouldn't be for every single person on the planet. Elden Ring should not be for every single person on the planet. God of War should not be for every single person on the planet. There should be these massive variances between these types of games, between these genres, that make these games appeal to different demographics, because otherwise you've got massive swathes of people that aren't being serviced with any form of games. Like, they've got the console, but they're not buying games. Why aren't they buying games? Well, you're just making football titles. Maybe they don't like football. That's the sort of conversation you've got to be having, and it's brilliant that these games don't appeal to some people, because they really appeal to others. But companies also need to be aware of that.
It's just crazy that you would spend money on a title and 66% of you just said, nah, that's not for me. But that's
what the
fine.
Second-hand market's for. Sell it on, get your money back.
Yeah,
somebody else will play it.
Second-hand market. I forgot about that. So definitely there for that, before the digital marketplace takes it away completely. That's another big idea for another show. Let's close out this one on the last one I wanted to talk about. PS5 fans beg Sony for more fulfilling live stream in the aftermath of the Xbox showcase. Now, it is a it is a point of contention that a lot of people have taken to social media. They've expressed that the Xbox showcase was 4 times as long and showed many more games. Um, that is just the facts, and that's what you're going to see in terms of numbers. PlayStation State of Play was, I believe, just about a half an hour, and we saw half games coming out for 2024, half games coming out for 2025. I believe these are just marketing strategies at play here. And when you see marketing strategies executed, the real determining factors of what's more successful than the other is how much your consoles have sold and what your subscription numbers are at. If those are higher, then your marketing strategy is working. This is also the first time we're seeing a transition that Xbox is holding a lot of publishers. They went $70 billion into grabbing Bethesda and Activision with Blizzard. And so you're starting to see all of that on the forefront. And that's what I believe. Now, PlayStation had a lot up their sleeves that they could have shown at the State of Play we were talking earlier about. They have the new Illuminide coming out in Helldivers 2. They've teased on that. They could have showed a teaser for that on the State of Play. Final Shape was coming out in the next couple weeks. They could have shown that. Spider-Man just got this free update with 8 new costumes. They could have showed something on that. I'm wondering why they held their punches, what's going on there, what was that decision. But a lot of people are a little confused about it.
It's not
How
really
do
that
you feel?
confusing.
There you
It's
go.
it's quite simple. PlayStation did a State of Play. That is a small update of what's coming soon. Xbox did a massive showcase, which is a huge blowout to say this is the next 2 to 3 years on Xbox that you should be excited for. They're not comparable. It's like comparing a Mini Cooper, the original Mini Cooper, to a Lamborghini Murcielago. They are not comparable cars. Yeah, they're both cars. These were both live streams that were shown to people, but one is an everyday runaround, one is a track car. One is quick little update, here's the things that you've got coming soon. One is this is everything we've got in the pipeline that's big and amazing for you. The Xbox show, for me, I would give it a B. I also gave the State of Play a B. In terms of the quality of what they offered, there wasn't a lot for me in either of them, but there was a good range of content for a good range and type of gamer. So, on that evidence, they're fairly level, they're fairly even pegging, but the reality is, one was a small update, one was a massive blowout. If PlayStation do a massive blowout this year, then you can start comparing the two. Like, you can compare what Ubisoft did over this last weekend with what Xbox did, because these were the big, massive blowout showcases. But Xbox wasn't comparable to Ubisoft's, because Xbox had amazing content. Ubisoft's was all known quantities and quite disappointing updates for a lot of them. Whereas the Xbox showcase was like, this is new, or this is the latest from something you know about, this is new. Like, Doom looked phenomenal and is coming to PlayStation. Fantastic news. It's worth watching these Xbox showcases as a PlayStation gamer now, because they're doing the whole semi-multi-platform thing, so you might know what's coming, what's not. But yeah, like, huge, big games from Xbox across 2024, 2025, and 2026. Whereas, like, we're just getting small updates for 2024 and early 2025 from PlayStation in the State of Play. Like, the immediate future. If we get a blowout showcase from them, then they can be compared. Then you're going to see the big things. Then you're going to see these big teases. And I don't think, a few costumes for Spider-Man or a minor update for Helldivers 2 would have changed anything in that State of Play for a lot of people. It would have felt exactly the same as people feel about it now. But for me, they both scored a B. They're different types of shows, but they both scored a B on my personal A to D scale. That's good. They're both good shows. Like, there was good and bad for me. There was a great array for lots of different gamers. People need to calm down. And people really need to educate
Their
themselves about
marketing
what is
rights.
what.
Marketing rights are not exclusives. Like, a showcase is where you spent your money to market the games. People are going to make their decisions on what games they buy before they even see a showcase. Like you said, we're part of the few who watch these showcases. It's a minority who watches it. And when people go to purchase the game, they go and look at their digital storefront. They don't pay attention to these showcases and who showed what where. That has very little impact. And I feel like the two big marketing rights that are going to have a big sort of impact on where people buy their consoles are, one, Call of Duty, which Xbox has, and two, Grand Theft Auto, because that will force people to switch to another console when that comes out. So those are the two big marketing rights that I feel hold actual value, and we'll see moving forward. But other than that, you're just kind of showing who you paid for to be a partner, even though it's a multi-plat. It's similar to PlayStation. They showed some games that were multi-plat. I think the PlayStation State of Play could have shown even Black Myth Wukong, as it is a console exclusive coming out later this year. But I feel like they had relationships with Summer Games Fest. It's an odd season, this showcase, because it's hard to link consoles investments with games without being exclusives. So, if you're a fan of the consoles and you cheer on their marketing rights, for sure, Xbox had a 4 times as long show with 4 times as many games. But like you said, apples to oranges. We'll see if PlayStation puts on a showcase later this year, and we'll see how much marketing rights really affect the sales of these consoles.
Yeah, 100%. As people are saying in chat as well, like, oh, we haven't got release dates for this, we do for that. It's like, some things we've got release dates about a month before they come out. Like, calm down, folks. It'll happen. It'll happen.
Yep. Well, I believe that's all we're going to be talking about today on Super PlayStation Bros. I want to thank everybody for coming out in chat and hanging out with us. It's been an awesome day to update everybody on PlayStation, sit around and chat with you all. You've been amazing. Dorgon, what's going on with you? I believe you said there was a video people can check out.
Not quite. I'm finished the edit the moment I had to jump on a call with you to do this show. So I now need to go and render that video uploaded. With a bit of luck, it'll be out on my channel tomorrow. Link is in the description down below if Rudix has been amazing as he normally is. So there's that one. It is PlayStation based, that video, so if you want to get over there and have a check out, you amazing PlayStation fans, I would be most appreciative. I've just slapped my microphone, I do apologize. But it's Wednesday as well. Joining you and the family tonight, aren't we, Rudix?
Yes, some family game night, getting some Fortnite, getting some Victory Royales. That'll be a lot of fun. And if you want to check out some gameplay, in about an hour or two, SPG, Simply Pwned Gaming, will be running some Warzone stream on his channel. Check it out in Cyborg City. The link is in the chat, and you can see when he goes live. Other than that, we'll be back next week at the same time going over more PlayStation news, keeping you guys updated, getting those platinums, and hopefully collecting those stars next week.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, that'd be nice.
All right, everybody, take care, be kind, and have a good one out there.
Later, all. Bye.
Try to believe in me. Why try do I even need to? I die with the season leaves. I glide with the season breeze. True, my mind so easily spooked. I ride just to be the me who finds hype super decently smooth. Nice type but as sick as beats.